Knowing I'm coming over isn't great, and then driving here feels weird, seeing it all again. That's an emotional one for me there, that Caddy pickup. I'd basically been doing that car up since I was 18, and that's it. The rest has completely melted and disappeared. Yeah, we'll probably end up coming out of it better off. Yes, we'll end up with new cars, but I wouldn't do it again. Here we are at our new premises, so if you want to follow me, I'll try and show you around.
I seen it earlier when I come in, but just properly in detail. It's impressive because you never really get to see it without actually the paint and the bare welds.
None of us are doing this to take part and make up the numbers. We're disappointed if we're not on the podium. I'm Adam Weaver, I'm the team principal of PowerMax Racing. Here we are at our new premises, so if you want to follow me, I'll try and show you around. 10 doors to go through. Hello, 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 hello. Here we are in the race building. So it's February. We are a few months now from the start of the 2026 BTCC season. We're in our new premises in Studley in Warwickshire. We are in the process of building up our cars, getting ready to go racing. Where we're at, we decided to build Audi S3s for the 2026 BTCC Championship, and those cars are very much in build. We've just kind of finished the first shell. It's here in bare metal, and what we're doing now is actually fitting that car up with a lot of the components to make sure that everything kind of fits as we want it to, and we're grinding off any rough edges or anything that we're not really kind of happy with, making it perfect before it goes for paint. First Audi shell just the other side of the coupe are being worked on at the moment, just getting it prepared, ready to go for paint on Monday. This is actually the first time I've seen it. We have to try and keep it dry and stop it from rusting before it gets into the paint shop and gets painted, ready to be built up and become an actual race car. So it's all still very much kind of work in progress. So the building, we've cleaned extensively, we've painted, we did the floor, we've painted all the roof, the walls, everything, try and clean it up and make it look presentable. So up here, this will be where the BTCC cars are sort of worked on. We've got one of the Cupras that we had last year, and then obviously our new Audi. So the reason we chose an Audi was simply down to there's several cars that are more aerodynamic than another. Hopefully, with the prestige that comes with the Audi brand name, it will help attract and bring sponsorship and partners to the team. Up here, we have several more race cars. So this is an Audi road-going car that we've used to scan and get the data to build the car and build the bodywork from. So all the spots on the car are like the pickup points for the scanner. This is a lot of work for me and the guys. I suppose for me in particular, it's my responsibility to make sure I've secured the drivers and the sponsors for the season. It then goes to kind of designing all of the livery concepts and clothing and all those sorts of things. So once I've got that sort of stuff done and out the way, the season probably gets a little bit easier for me, because once you know that the money's in place, everything's designed and kind of looking pretty, it's then over to the boys and girls of PowerMax Racing to deliver it, put the cars on track, to get them to the circuit, to run them, to engineer them. So the guys are generally in sort of 8:30 every day, and then ideally they probably go home somewhere between 5 and 6 o'clock, depending on what needs to be done. Obviously in the race season that changes a lot, and I'm sure as we go another couple of weeks or so into February and these cars start being bolted together, there'll be quite a few late nights and quite a few weekends, to be honest. A normal off-season would include the car being stripped back to basics, basically absolutely everything coming out of the car, everything being kind of serviced, repaired, checked, and then we would do any development work to the car. But obviously this off-season we've built new cars from scratch, so hopefully all of the development work is built into the design. Upstairs we've got several offices where the designers are sat poring over CAD drawings and designs and CFD for the race cars. So everything in terms of design is built in-house. We obviously haven't had premises, so we've had to partner. So usually we've our we do the design and the install of the cages, but the actual cages are bent and notched, ready to be welded in by a cage provider. So we've used custom cages for our Astra, and we've used custom cages again for the Audi. So it's been very much a joint venture between us and custom cages with our staff. Down through here we've got a fabrication area where this would be more where the clean work kind of goes on. And then so down here, this is where the actual welding and fabrication and cutting and bending and all that sort of stuff happens. We've got various tools, some of them very old pieces of kit. Thankfully, some of them weren't destroyed in the fire. But this is a lot of where the cutting, bending, welding, shaping of metal happens. So to be honest, I don't even know what all of these things do. I'm not going to profess to be overly technical, but I can stick a bit of metal together. But we've got people that are much better at it than I. We're still trying to put the plate together. So now on, we've put some lights up in this area. Most of the buildings had to be pretty much rewired. We've had to put in a lot of heating. There's no heating in the premises, and it's still very much ongoing. There's some bits of subframes and stuff that are going on the cars that might be worth a little look now. So these are all the front and rear subframes that are standard on all BTCC cars that are being sort of cleaned and prepared, ready for sort of first fitment, and then all the steering components. But so what's going on here now? The shells kind of finished, getting prepped for paint. Obviously, we had a massive fire, a catastrophic fire at our head office and workshops in August of last year, which, let's just say, messed our season up a little bit. But that's the reason that we're now having to build new Audis. But it's a really good thing for us to have something positive to focus on, and the boys and girls have really focused on the challenge. And hopefully we can start to look forward and enjoy what the future brings rather than focusing on the negatives of the past, really. On August the 9th, it was a Saturday, I was at home, and basically I'd missed a couple of calls on my phone, and somebody had basically said that I think there's a fire in the field next to where your work is. You might want to have a look and make sure everything's okay. Started driving over and was still getting calls, and then as I got towards the site, started to become kind of ever more likely that the fire was actually us rather than the field. It was horrific getting there. There was fire brigade already trying to stop people driving along a section of road, that the smoke was so bad across the road that you could not see at all. Obviously I knew the road and knew how straight it was, and I literally drove through the smoke, not being able to see a thing, kind of just hoping at some point to come out the other side before I got to the junction. As I turned right at the junction, you could clearly see that our premises was on fire, and it was the end furthest away from where the race cars were stored. Talking to the fire brigade about, is there anything that could be done to kind of try and save that end of the building? And his response was, it's too late, it's gone, mate, we just need to watch it burn. I don't know, it was almost like so much emotion. It was overwhelming in a way, really. Didn't feel angry, didn't feel sad. You just kind of start thinking about everything that was in there, everything that it was going to affect, all the people that it's going to affect, and then quickly kind of latched onto the fact that we're supposed to be racing at Knockhill at the weekend. Rang Martin, the team manager, and he said, I've heard, I'm already on my way. Just a conversation with him about, do you want to try and do this? This is going to be, if it isn't already the most horrific week of your life, it's going to get a whole lot worse by trying to pull things together and go racing. It's more than anything, it was giving us something to focus on, even if we actually failed to get a car and get to Knockhill. I think when something like this happens, most people thankfully see it as an opportunity to help and an opportunity to kind of pay back. But there are a few people out there that see it as an opportunity to profit and take advantage. Not only did we lose virtually everything in the fire, a day after the firefighters had left site, we were actually broken into, and a load of things that we had got left that hadn't burnt were stolen. But thankfully there were a couple of people out there that all they wanted to do was help. One of those being the Patterson family, and also Unlimited with their car to allow us to go racing. The team that week barely slept, to be honest. I think if anybody had much more than 4 or 5 hours sleep any night, I'd be surprised. As I turned left onto this road, you could start to see the smoke sort of above these buildings on the right in the distance, basically. At this point, there was people in the road and fire crews trying to stop people going, and from here the flames were like lapping across. This greenery here on the right was on fire, and the flames were lapping across and touching this hedge. Now there you go, first glimpses. that was very, very much on fire. We're at the gates to the property now. We'll stop and get out and we'll go and have a walk around and I'll show you the site. This would have been our offices. That was our fab shop, the only bit that didn't burn, but actually got robbed the day after the fire. So that was where our jig was and all our welding and fabrication equipment was in there. Around the back, there was a company that basically bought and sold pallets. And rather than paying for a skip, they decided on like a hot summer's day, after it hadn't rained for like 14 weeks, with thousands of dry pallets behind them, to burn some of their scrap pallets in a skip. And it got out of hand and burnt everything down. Do you want to know one really weird thing, right? So we brought in these indestructible tennis balls for dogs, and they are genuinely the only thing that hasn't burnt. Like, there is several hundred of them just sat on top of the wreckage through there, and they're still like the bright tennis green colour, not a mark on the thing. Well, I think we should now build buildings from them. Yeah. Knowing I'm coming over isn't great, and then driving here feels weird. Seeing it all again, but you know, all upstairs here was we put in a big mezzanine that was exclusively like Powermax Racing's offices. We've got like a sim room set up in there, meeting room, all of our trophies, everything was all in there. But that mezzanine floor, if you have a look through here, doesn't even exist anymore. These sorts of bits are the mezzanine. On top of this cabinet here, that was a gearbox, and the whole gearbox case in itself has melted. There's nothing left, and there's just some of the gears left in there. And beyond there, there's two gearbox stands, you see, with the arch tops. So both of those would have had gearboxes sat on the stands, and what's on them now is all that's left of those gearboxes. So there's a few kind of gear components, and that's it. The rest has completely melted and disappeared. Well over £2 million worth of vehicles, and in fairness, some of those figures are quite conservative because they're probably what they would have been worth if they were sold right now, but they're things that you can't really recreate. We borrowed a load of tables and chairs. Accelerate lent us a load of chairs. WSR lent us a load of tables. There's a British Superbike team that lent us a load of kit. Just basically begged and borrowed lots and lots of things, really. There's lots of people that kind of came out the woodwork that I haven't spoke to for ages, but they still reached out and offered us help. It was great. That's an emotional one for me there. That Caddy pickup that's there. I've basically been doing that car up since I was 18. Basically done loads of stuff to it over the years. Never really did anything with it, but it was kind of almost sat affectionately in the corner kind of thing. But it's just something, again, it will never be recreated, if you know what I mean. Oh, you were well insured? Yeah, I was well insured. Yeah, we'll probably end up coming out of it better off. Yes, we'll end up with new cars. There's loads and loads of positives, but the hours that we've had to put in to get that, like, I would never, even if I ended up with an extra £1 million in the bank at the end of all this, I still wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it again. You know, it literally jumped from building to building. As you can see, it took everything. You know, the fire started at that very far end. It's burnt every shipping container, jumped from container to container, building to building. Like, even all the cars stored outside have been ignited, and kind of just, we have had people regularly work a shift in production on a Saturday, and they could have been quietly in that building. You know, they enter from the other side. They could have been in that building working away as this ignited, and there genuinely could have been a loss of life. As you can see, the site's pretty big. There's a lot of concrete, a lot of outside space. You know, you have a lot of things to store for the race team, lorries and all the various different trucks and support vehicles. We needed something in the region of probably 50,000 square foot, and everything available was either 9,000 square foot or 90,000 square foot. And then we found a site in Studley that was up for sale. Location-wise, it worked. Size-wise, it was okay, but the site itself was horrific. Looked pretty similar to this, to be honest. Again, going back to sort of BTCC, they're bespoke to the British Touring Car Championship, so the only way we were going to get competitive cars back on the grid was to build them. So on top of having sort of no premises and very little kit, we then had to commit to a type of car that we were going to build, and somehow find a way to design and build it ready for the start of a championship. So you even weigh every little component that goes on the car, so you know the weight of absolutely everything.
I'll not sit on it then.
Do you reckon that went on at your old team or not?
I'm not sure, no comment.
It's well trained, well trained. We're very, very very pleased to welcome Dexter and his family to the team for 2026 and hopefully beyond. Dexter's somebody that I kind of watched, obviously from afar, didn't really know them that well, but 2025 kind of really gave us an opportunity to get to know the family. Roddy, his dad, reached out almost instantly, couldn't do enough for us, lent us absolutely anything he could. Obviously, we were going up to Knockhill that weekend. He cleared out workshop space. He allowed us to take the cars to his premises in Glasgow and literally live in his workshop to prep a car ready to go racing at the weekend at Knockhill. That gave us an opportunity to get to know them better and obviously start to have conversations about 2026, and we've managed to put a package together to get Dexter in the team for 2026, and hopefully we can use that as a way to repay them for the generosity that they've shown the team. Dexter's eligible for the Jack Sears Trophy. We are the most successful team in the Jack Sears Trophy, and we certainly expect to be challenging for it and winning it in 2026.
I seen it earlier when I come in, but just properly in detail. It's impressive because you never really get to see it without actually the paint and the bare welds. But you can tell even from that it's proper job. So.
None of us are doing this to take part and make up the numbers. We're disappointed if we're not on the podium. So we are expecting to be on that podium, and that's what we will be working towards. And the drivers that I'm planning on putting in the cars are people that have the credibility to be able to do that. And we certainly will be challenging for independent drivers, independent teams and Jack Sears Trophy and outright wins in 2026. I look forward to seeing you at Donington for round one of the BTCC.